It's phenomenal.
Yeah. Okay. Are we being live streamed? Got it. I think so.
It says meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. So I think
Oh my goodness, we did it. We beat technology. Can you believe it? I can't believe that.
They're making it more and more complicated, Josh. I don't know.
Yes.
For my simple brain, right?
Well, they got to do something to keep us on our toes and to somehow extract more money from us to make us think we need the latest and greatest. And by the way, this weekend, I had to get a new phone. Speaking of which.
Isn't that funny? I still have the iPhone 6 and it's glitching now. And I said to my husband, it's old like me. I said, maybe Christmas, that'll be the Christmas gift to each other, right? My kids need a new phone and all of that. It's just a fortune. Perfect. Yeah, it's a fortune.
It is. And what's funny is I worked in semiconductor space for 20 years and I was designing parts for these cell phones. I designed and I was a manager for a design group that did parts for these. And I refused to have a smartphone when they first came out. I refused until I got into business for myself and I had to have one. It was weird. I was just this anti-smartphone.
You're right.
Person.
You're a
supporting it.
Yeah, that's what you were creating it, yet you didn't buy. You're counterintuitive human. You do the opposite.
I'll take that as a compliment.
100% compliment. Yes, you beat to your own drum. I love it.
Yes. All right, we should probably get this thing rocking.
Sure.
And rolling here.
Cool.
So
I'm all yours. I'm all yours.
Stop sharing my screen. And there we are. All right. Welcome, champions. Welcome, everyone out there. This is the Shy to Shine podcast, where, well, you guys know what I'm about. You know, and wait to hear from Connie Whitman. She's going to be sharing some absolute amazing nuggets on conversations, especially when it comes to sales and your superpowers. But really, we're the whole point of us sharing time together is helping people go from business shy to shine, to make them so unabashedly excited about what they do that they just can't wait to get out there and share it with the world. Because that's the kind of energy, and I'm sure Connie would agree, that's the kind of energy that sells. That's the kind of energy that builds businesses, that builds legacies, and it builds lives. So very, very honored, Connie, for you to be here. Welcome to the group. Welcome to our show.
Excited to be here, Josh. Thank you so much. Yeah, sales is important and shining is probably even more important, right? And the sales come with that. So yeah, I love it. I love everything you're about.
Awesome. Thank you. And you had me on your show and that was such a fun conversation. I think that's where one of the first places we met. And I just we got to do this again. So I'm like, all right, come over to my place this time. and
exactly.
Let's share some more because it was such a powerful conversation last time. And I have got your bio here. I'm happy to read it. However, I also want to really just know from your heart of hearts, like what you really do. Like if you just strip the script, right? We're all going to keep it close on. Strip the script, just really, really from deep down, what do you really do with people? What do you do for people?
Yeah. And it's funny, Josh, with COVID and everything. And I've been in business 20 years. So my branding was from 20 years ago, old like me, and it needed to be updated, right? So I had downtime and rebranding. So I actually changed. My business is still Whitman Associates, but I'm changing the sales game. And that's going to be really my URL and everything going forward. And just really the long and short of it, I've been in sales for 39 years. Yes, 39 years. And changing the sale. I know. Thank you. I'm turning 60. I'm turning 60 after Thanksgiving. So I love you for that. Thank you.
Wait, Thanksgiving 2040? Like which Thanksgiving?
No, 2021. My birthday is in a week. Yes, I love you. I love you. You're my new best friend. Yeah, I'm turning 60. But so it's really 39 years doing this. But here's for me, I finally realized when I started dealing with business owners, I'm mostly in corporate and now I'm working in both, right, with business owners. But here's what I do. I am on a movement to change that word when we hear the word sales or we go into selling right? Exactly. It's that icky, sleazy, I'm manipulating, I'm persuading. horrifying for me. And that is never how I've sold in my 39 years, successfully sold in 39 years. So my mantra and my mission, truly my mission, is to shift from that icky to love, care, and respect. And for me, if we're not selling from that place of love, care, and respect, we're doing it wrong. And I tell everybody, please stop, because it's wrong. And you're making it harder than it has to be. So I guess that's at the core of what I am, or who I am.
Yes, yes. Well, first of all, thank you for doing that. And you're talking to someone who came from 20 years in corporate, that I hated sales. I absolutely hated sales, because sales to me was exactly what you were describing, where it's manipulative. It's that used car salesman or timeshare salesperson.
Yes.
And I was like, I don't want to trick people into buying shit they can't afford, that they don't want, and then I'm supposed to go home at night and sleep. Heck to the no. I wasn't even remotely interested in it. So why do we start off that way? What happened in our education, or did we get marketed to? How did sales become such a sleazy thing?
And I just think it goes to when we first started with commerce, right? There was always this element of negotiation. You give me 2 chickens, I'll give you whatever,
Right.
hey, whatever it is. And I think that there was always this feeling of, did I get duped? Did I sell my stuff at a discount? So again, that feeling. Additionally, now fast forward in the modern world, we have movies like Glengarry Glen Ross, Always Be Closing.
Yes.
That
Copies for
movie.
closers.
Oh my goodness. I think I was still selling insurance when I first watched that movie. I'm selling insurance. And I remember saying to my husband, oh my God, that's disgusting. Like, that's not how I sell. Right. So it was this foreign concept. Wolf of Wall Street, another one. So
Yeah.
the media, Madoff, the new one, Robert De Niro, a couple of years ago, right? Made off with people's money.
Yeah.
Additionally, us humans, and I know you have fallen to this as I have, we've been what we call duped, right? So someone has sold us something, and then after the fact, you're like, well, that's not what I thought I was getting. And you feel ripped off. So all of that underlying current is constantly happening. And for me, if I can share, when I teach sales, right? When I teach people how to simplify the whole process and feel good about what you're doing, there's 2 conversations always going on, Josh. What we're doing, you and I were talking, we're using English, you shared the screenshot before, very conscious conversation. But really about 90% of our communication comes at the subconscious level,
Right.
this energetic exchange. So I have a workshop I just did a couple of weeks ago. It's called 5 Layers of Buyer's Resistance. So because of Wolf of Wall Street, because we've been duped, every human, including you and I, that I'm good at sales. Yet if somebody starts talking to me and I think, oh, here comes the pitch, it's this very subconscious. Now I'm aware of it. So I think, put your judgment aside, because that's really what it is, and really listen and see if whatever this offer is will help you move your needle, improve your branding, whatever it might be. So we have to get through those 5 layers, and we don't know how to do it because we're not even aware of this unconscious conversation. So there's a lot going on. But again, I think the media has hurt business owners with the pitch. Like, the pitch is coming, and I hate that word pitch.
Yeah, yeah. Even and that's such a great point, though. I love that you're talking about the subconscious conversation. You're talking about the conversation that happens that you don't even realize is happening. Because when I talk about personal branding, I talk about the gut feeling somebody gets the moment you walk into a room, the things you don't say. And that's kind of what you're alluding to, it sounds like. Like there's this, like our body knows, our heart knows, no matter what someone's yapping, either we like it, we're getting a good feeling, we're getting the right energy because they're coming from a place of good intentions, or they're like, wait a minute, I think this person's trying to pull one over on me, they're trying to be deceptive, and we shut it down. And then sales, especially insurance sales, I was in insurance sales as well. Insurance sales people are like, what happened? I thought, but all that was in that insurance person's mind was, I got to make the sale. I had to put food on my table. I need money. What can I do to manipulate and get this person just to sign the contract, to sign the agreement?
Yeah. And that's the manipulation, because you're not thinking, how can I help this person? Because it's always about the client. It's really not about us. As soon as you shift out of how can I serve my client stop. Like, to me, stop. Can I share a quick story? When I first started selling insurance, you go out with the sales manager, he trained you. My sales manager was horrific. He should not have been coaching. He was horrific. Just leave it at that. I got yelled at more times by him than I had in my entire life from my parents, to give you
Oh
some
my
idea.
goodness.
Yeah, he was horrifying. But anyway, the first client, I went alone, right? I went on my own. It was a blue collar couple, young, two little girls at home. And he kept saying, something happens to me, I don't want them to lose the house, right? And I need insurance. And at the end of hearing where he was coming from, looking at their budget, can they afford the insurance? So I knew what to recommend, et cetera. And here was the long and short of it. They were just about making ends meet. And I could have sold the insurance. He wanted the insurance. He would have bought that insurance. And I kept saying to him, I understand. I agree. You need the insurance, but we're going to put, if I sell you the insurance tonight, you're going to pay the premium. 6 months later, $500 later, the $500 that they didn't have, the policy is going to lapse and you just threw $500 away. I said, I can't do that. So here's the deal. And I went through all of their budget. I had an MBA in finance. I had all of my licenses, my Series 7. So I think in numbers, I see numbers. So I put them on a budget and we talked every week. We tweaked the budget. 6 months, 8 months later, I finally sold the insurance policy. Now, here's the cool thing that happened. It didn't lapse. They got the insurance that he knew he needed, right? So the family was protected. And this is the best part of it. And I didn't make money for that 8 months, right? I was on full commission, no money. They became my best referrer. So instead of being in the office making cold calls, I was getting calls from them. You have to call my sister, or somebody would call me and they, hey, like, I'm Josh, Connie Whitman or Joe Schmo told me to call you. I need insurance. So I was living off of and I was a kid. I mean, what did I know? Here's what I knew. What felt right. I came from a place of love, care, and respect, because I looked at this young couple thinking they don't have my education, right? He was good at what he did, right? I was good at what I did. How dare I not serve them and help them so that he could have the insurance, protect his family, and afford it? And I won and that was never my intention, by the way, because I was new to this whole game, but I was living off of referrals within probably 2 years of selling insurance. That was unheard, especially for a kid, right? That was unheard of. Yeah. Well, fast forward 39 years, pretty much, knock on wood, I live off referrals because my reputation precedes me, because I'm honest and integrity. And I'll tell people, you're not ready for me. You really need to be doing that. Or I'm not the person for you. You need to meet my friend Josh. So I think that's being an integrity. You live off referrals from that. You have to build that.
Yeah. And there's so much there you just shared. I hope people caught some of this. First, I heard you talk about how you took you basically took your genius. You took something you were naturally good at that wasn't part of being an insurance salesperson, and you brought it to this client just because you wanted to help them. You did the right thing for them, not the right thing for you in the immediate. However, by doing the right thing for them, it actually became the right thing for you long term. So there's no get rich quick. And that's one of the things I had to teach people in insurance. People would come in and they would be like, I'm going to make $1 million and I'm going to have all this great, wonderful business. I was like, yes, but in time, you've got to pay the price in full and upfront and do things like what you did, where you just did the right thing for them. And now they're your number one referral source. And that's fantastic. There's so much there that we could do an entire show just on that.
Right. But here's the thing, Josh, think about every client I met with. Yeah. I did that, whatever they needed, right? That I'd be like, okay, yeah, you need the insurance. Let's dissect, figure out what one you need. And sometimes it was a whole life. Sometimes it was a blend. Sometimes it was a variable, dependent what they needed, right? So you create the package for them. So again, customizing my recommendation to them, it was never the same, because who was in front of me, I really understood them. And the other thing too is I never had lapsed policies, which was also unheard of. Yes. Because then, and I was living off of referrals within 2 years, which was unheard of. And just to put this into perspective, right? This was in the 80s, mid 80s, right? I was 23 or 24, and I was making, in a year, $60,000, $80,000 full commission. I was a kid. I didn't know anything. And I was living off of referrals and getting business in every day just because I did the right thing. So, here's the problem though. We live in an immediate world. What are your numbers this month, right? If you work for a company, some of your people watching might be working for a company. What have you done for me lately? What's your quarterly numbers? What's the result? What's the result? So we think in this very 1 month, 1 week, am I on pace, versus kind of stepping back and say, I know where I want to get to financially or goals or whatever it is. How can I get there in the most fun way, right? The most easy way. And again, coming from this place of love, care, and respect, I'm telling you, it works every time, and you will build an empire.
Absolutely. So you make a very good point. We are in this immediate world where everyone, we got sales numbers, and it doesn't matter what we did last month. Last month was last month. Now, what does this month look like? So there's pressure on people from that. And there's also pressure on their own family, on their own budgets, on their own, they need to make money. So if I play devil's advocate a little bit and I say, Connie, what you said is, it sounds wonderful. I would love to just be myself and really always do the right thing, but I can't afford to. I got to get this business going. How does someone maybe balance that? Or is it one of these where, sorry, do the right thing first, and if you can't, maybe don't get into the business right away, or maybe there's another approach? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there are a couple of ways I would answer that. So first thing is, if you're looking to go on a full commission job, you have to have money in the bank, because if you don't, now it becomes dire. And that's where, oh, I'm going to do the pitch now. Oh, I hope they buy. I have to pay my mortgage. I have to pay for the turkey for Thanksgiving, whatever it is. You're feeling that pressure. You, as best you can, try to remove it. Now, with that said, how many people lose a job and then they go in and they think, you know what, I think I could sell and I can make money. Here's really my recommendation. You have to, and this is why I got yelled at a lot, because I would come back and my manager would say, how'd you do last night? And I'd be like, I didn't make a sale, but I had 3 good meetings, and because I don't care about that. What did you sell? But again, in that short term, and I had money saved before I left a paycheck job to come to this. I made sure I had money in the bank. Again, just being prepared. Yeah, you have to do the right thing and the money will come. I really believe that. So here's another thing. When I coach and I teach managers how to coach their team, stop focusing on the numbers, because you can't coach a number. I coach the human. Behaviors drive the numbers. If I could get you to have every sales call be so perfect for that client, right? Whoever that client is, your close ratio will naturally go up, because you're doing the right thing and you're getting referrals. So it becomes this, and I hate to say this, but please hear me, everybody listening. Sales is a numbers game. If I make 1 meeting and I think I'm going to pay my mortgage this month, you're crazy. Okay. So it's a numbers game. If you don't do enough activity, you're not going to get the results on the back end. So watch the activity you're making would be another recommendation. Stop the busy work and minutia, get on the phone, get in front of people, get out there and network, speak if you can at summits and different things. You have to be visible and out there to attract referral resources for you, as well as being in front of potential clients. Constantly have to do that. It's a numbers game. If you do enough of that, networking, marketing, branding, and then you do the right thing on the sales conversation, those numbers become exponential, and then you're spiraling upwards. But it's a numbers game from an activity standpoint. Behaviors drive your budget or your revenue streams.
100%.
Does that make sense, Josh? Yeah.
Absolutely. And it takes the pressure off. If you see enough people, you're going to make sales. Even if you're terrible, you're still going to make some sales, and it starts to take the pressure off because you're making money and you can still do the right thing for people. So I think the game of numbers is 100% right. And a lot of folks, they know it, but they're scared of it. They're scared of rejection. There's all this stuff that we go through as human beings. What are they going to think about me? How many no's can I take before I get a yes? That whole game. I used to teach my folks in insurance, my agency. I used to teach them about, going for the no, the book that came out and all that. But every no is actually worth money if you understand your sales ratios, if you understand how many no's it takes you to get a yes. And then your job is to try and compress that. I want to get fewer no's over time to get to that yes, which means every no is worth more. So I'm trying to increase the value of my no's, but not this nose. I mean, this nose I got way too much of this nose.
A handsome nose.
I don't know about that. So it sounds like you've always been kind of out there. You've always had this ability to just get in front of people and share. were you ever shy? Were you ever like, even in business maybe, or, um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, think about it, especially when I first started, like, we can't get out of our own way when we're learning, especially in our 20s. I feel like there's so much new stuff to learn and process and absorb. And I think for me, though, because, I came from a very Italian household, the family's important. And I think through my whole sales career, there was an element. First of all, we were raised always do the right thing. My father used to always say, do the right thing, because then your reputation will never be tarnished. That's something
yeah,
you own. People could do crap to you, right? Whatever, be dishonest, etc. But if your reputation is clean, you own that, magic happens, right? And
no one
I
can
always
take that away
believe
from you, right?
nobody could take it away, just like your education, right? Once you get it, it's yours. So that was one thing I was raised, and it was hammered into us, which was a good lesson to learn. But the other thing, every time, and no matter what I was selling through my career, whenever I was in front of that client, I always came from the perspective, if this was my grandmother or my mom or dad or an aunt or a
Mhm.
cousin, how would I want people to treat them? And as soon as you come from that framework, you're coming from love, care, and respect, because you're
That's it.
you're selling to a family member. And this is the other funny thing, Josh, my clients, they become my friends. I have one executive, she again has become friends. The first time I met her, I said, you and I are going to become great friends. We have so much in common. And she looked at me, met me for the first time. She was an executive at one of my corporate clients. She had come in and taken over a position. We're fast friends. Like, we talk at least weekly. So all of those things, and then people now I do Christmas Eve, I do seafood. So I just did a training, and everybody's like, can you add extra seats? Like, yes, everybody's
Of
welcome.
course.
But it's that family, that familiarity, I think, that I bring to the table, so people feel safe as well. And I think that's another element. That's not a put on for me. And even when I was younger and a little bit shy, or maybe not as confident, because I didn't have the success, when I was in my 20s, that I have now, I think because I always came from a place of integrity. People felt safe with me. And that's why my sales ratios kept going up, because I didn't need to go back a second or third time, because it was a referral. That was the other thing. The referral is priceless, because now you get in front of Josh, through his friend Joe.
Exactly. I
He
know
loves
300
Joe and
people.
trusts Joe. I come in and he's like, I trust you, Connie. Joe speaks so highly of you. What do we need to do?
It's
Here's my
done.
situation.
Yeah,
And the
sales is
sale is
done.
made. The sale is done.
Yes,
Yeah. Reputation.
100%. So
Yeah.
and what you're really talking about, it sounds like, is empathy, where, and this is the easiest way to define empathy, in my opinion, is that stranger that is going through some struggle. If that was your mom, if that was your sister, if that was your best
Yeah.
friend, how would you treat them? What would you do for them? That's truly what empathy is about. And
Yeah.
honestly, I think our empathy is on E a little bit nowadays.
I
I'm not
agree.
seeing enough of it.
I think, empathy to me is the emotional intelligence. And I
Yeah.
think with all the media and just all the shenanigans, and I don't, again, politically, I don't care what side you're on, doesn't matter. The shenanigans are off the charts, and we're buying into the rhetoric because we're hearing it so much. And we come from this place of angst and anger. I haven't watched the news in probably 6 or 7 years, because I would be screaming at
Smart.
the
Yeah.
TV. Like, this is like, I would look at my husband and go, okay, I've totally gone off the deep end. I cannot watch this anymore, because it's lowering my vibration, and it's affecting all these other aspects of my life, because I'm angry all the time. What are we doing? So I feel like our emotional intelligence as a world, not just in the United States, but as a world, it's really struggling, because it's what about me? I have to protect me. So we're
Yeah.
going into poverty mentality. Let me close myself off, instead of how can I help you, right? Let me open my arms to the world and the magic that can happen. We're afraid to do that. And that makes me sad.
Well, it makes us sad, and it makes us broker. I always talk
Yeah.
about shy equals broke. When we close up, when we're afraid to shine, we're afraid to share our gift, we're afraid to share the value. Even if you're insurance, let's say, you have an expertise that other people don't. Most people are
Yes.
afraid of insurance. They're afraid of the conversation. They're like, I don't know, it's too complex. I'm just not going to protect my family, and I'm going to put my head in a hole. And you're the one that can help them do the right thing. So if you close up, it's over. Like, not only do you lose, but your client loses, society loses, the
Yes.
economy loses, everybody loses.
Yeah.
when you don't know how to have that right sales conversation, when you don't know how to genuinely just give a crap about someone else.
And the other thing is stay in your lane, right? So you're branding and marketing, dude, not my zone of genius. I hire people. I don't know that. It's not, I understand it. I can answer your questions to create the messaging. Please don't ask me to help you with your messaging. It would be an epic fail. I stay in my lane.
Yeah.
I know the components of sales and how to make it human. Maybe that's what I do. Make it human, fun, and easy, right? And how do you build that empire of referrals, right? That numbers game. So it's breaking down the pieces for people to say, oh, never thought of it that way. So all of a sudden I'm coming from a place of logic and love and emotion versus I have to make that sale. So it's just shifting a little bit of the perspective, but I stay in my lane. I met somebody yesterday networking. She was referred to me and it was so funny. She was a doctor and she did intuitive healing, which I get, right?
Yeah.
And I get that jump, but then she says, oh, and I'm really good at marketing and messaging and I'm really good at sales. She was probably 20 years younger than me. And I'm sitting there the whole time going, yeah, are you?
Really?
Are you? And
Yeah.
I said to her, oh, you're an expert in sales. Oh yeah, I'm very good at sales. And I thought, okay. And I said, oh, that's interesting because I'm intuitive, but I never would say I'm an intuitive healer. I can say what I want my messaging to say, but then to make it sound pretty for people to go, wait, what was her marketing message? Please don't come to me. Oh no, I'm good at all of that. And again, 20 years younger than me. So at the end, I hung up. It's funny how we beat ourselves up. I go, I think I'm slow and stupid. I'm good at sales, right? But I stay in my lane. And that's the other thing. Stop trying to be everything to everyone because you're afraid you're going to lose money. Nobody knows what you do. Nobody knows how to refer you because you're not staying in your lane, right?
Exactly.
Keep it simple, silly, dude, right?
Yep. And that's brand. Brand is like, this is what I stand for. This is my rock. Here's why I exist. Here's why I get out of bed this morning. And nobody takes that away from you. And it doesn't change depending upon who you're talking to. It's just that core. And it's wonderful to have that kind of clarity. But when you talked about, I'm good at sales. When someone says that, you know what I hear? I hear, trust me. Now, when someone says, trust me, what's the last thing you're probably going to do?
I ain't trusting you. I'm going to get duped.
Exactly. Oh, you can trust me. See, trustworthy people don't say, trust me. People that are good at sales don't say, I'm really good at sales, especially in a conversation like that. They're like, I'm good at sales. Like, why are you telling me that?
And you know what's funny, Josh? I never say I'm good at sales. I say I am good at sales from the communication perspective.
Yeah.
The subconscious. So that's when you know I'm an expert in sales because it's not just, I'm really good in sales. And that's where you leave it. Oh, you have 2 modules in my thing or 3 modules in my program. So you learn something, you threw it in, but you're really not an expert. So you're really not going to help people, change their sales, right? So people come through my program, week 3, they make back their investment. My one favorite story to tell, she came through my program, hated sales. She had spent $10,000 the previous years. I suck at this. I'm not good. I hate it. It's my least favorite part of my business. 3 weeks in, she couldn't wait to get on. I'm like, what are you jumping up and down about? I had a $2,000 day. She goes, Connie, not only have I made back the investment with you, right, which paid for the program, she goes, I'm having my bathroom redone and I'm taking a vacation in August. This was 3 weeks into the program to a person who says, I suck at sales and that's my least favorite part of my business. It's just showing people, be you. Just tweak and here's the other thing. It's usually tweaking things people are doing. But when you're 99% there, that last 1% is kind of important. It's like getting on a plane and then saying, we're 99% sure that the engine's working. Are you going to get on that plane? 100%.
Yes.
So it's the same thing with your sales. If you're 1% off with how you're approaching it, you're shy, you're afraid, fear is coming through, all of those pieces of the puzzle. It's this little shift that we have to make. And then all of a sudden it's like, whoosh, everything takes off.
Nice. Yeah. And what you're saying about that lady is like, show me, don't tell me. So I love that you shared the story because that to me tells me you're better at sales than any words you can tell me as far as like, I'm good at sales. See that right there, just show me you're good at sales. Don't tell me you're good at sales, if that makes sense. I love that. So you have a new brand. You're rebranding, you said, you're working on some new messaging. What's that looking like? Where are you headed? Now let's talk about where you're headed, what you got coming up, and things that people can maybe keep an eye out for.
Yeah, so this is my new color, and it's my favorite color, turquoise.
Like it.
Teal, that tealy vibe, Mediterranean. Dad
Or
was
South
born in
Floridian.
Italy.
South Floridian also.
All right, South Floridian. I was going to
I'm
say the
just kidding.
Mediterranean and Italy, but okay, we'll go
We
Southern
can go
Florida.
South Florida too. That's all right. Yeah. Miami
So great.
Gardens.
I love it. So that's my color. And again, I'm still Whitman and Associates for my charter in New Jersey. But it's changing the sales game, because that's really truly my mission and message now is we have to stop the madness, and everybody has to stop. I could teach you how to sales in 3 days or less because I have found the solution. What a load of BS.
Yeah.
When someone says you can lose 50 pounds in 2 weeks, run the other way. If it doesn't sound like how I've been dieting for my whole life, why can't I lose that? So as soon as you hear stuff like that, it's like run the other way. And I think I'm in a mission to get people to spend their money wisely, to focus their energy on their true message, right? Like I work closely with people like you. And then once that's clear, then it's getting out of our own head is really where the magic happens.
We're blocking ourselves, right? I mean, that's at the end of the day.
And that breaks my heart. So when I see people leaving money on the table, that's really my new brand. And I use a lot. My kids played hockey, both goalies. Could they have picked a more expensive position? But I use a lot of hockey analogies because sports, teamwork. When I'm with a client, we are a team of two. So you can draw from that and people understand what you're saying versus going through this whole long story to make my point. I can use an example of like you're in a sports game, you're on the clock. As soon as you're in front of your client, you're on the clock, right? You got to shine, you got it right out of the gate. You don't have 5 minutes to settle in, you're on the clock. So it's things like that I've gotten really clear with my messaging of how to blend all of that into sales success.
Nice. I like it. Changing the sales game. I love that. So what do you have coming up? You have something, communication style assessment?
I do. I have a free gift.
No. Yeah. How do people get that if they want to, get involved and start learning more about your genius, let's call it?
My zones of genius.
Yeah.
So a few years ago, a colleague of mine, I was certified in DISC, which is a behavioral model. Most people know that. She was certified in Myers-Briggs. Again, both brilliant tools. One is too simple. One was too complicated. So we created our own communication style assessment, and it is a free gift that I would love to share anybody who finds us on Facebook Live or post it afterwards. But if you go to whitmanassociates.com, it's still branded under my other, I'm kind of in transition, whitmanassociates.com/CSA, you get your free communication style assessment. Now, the cool thing is it tells you your natural superpowers, and we all have them. I give you a report that shares that. And it also shares when we leverage that superpower too much, it actually becomes a blind spot and a challenge for us that we can create angst around us without realizing it. So it gives you a report. The addition, there's 5 styles and you get the lowest report. So the style that's least like you have to be aware of it, because if your client is that lowest style for you, you really have to understand how they communicate so that you deliver your message communicating live like we're doing. You have to deliver that message the way they will receive it, the way they will hear it and process it. So it's really good to see the highs and the lows, because without that, I'm telling you, 80% of the time we're talking to people not like us. Just that one piece of information, you're leaving business on the table. So it's my free gift to you. It's a brilliant tool. And then I have a book that goes with it. It's on my website. But if anybody has a question too, Josh, you're going to put my email in there. I always love jumping on and sharing with people how to leverage their superpowers, how to be mindful of them, to control them. And then when you're talking to someone, your least style, I always give some little tips so that we maximize every conversation with every prospect. Yeah. It's efficiency,
Awesome.
Right? It's about efficiency.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we're going to put all the links and everything also in the comments. And it's just, honestly, first of all, thank you for sharing time with us. Really greatly appreciate it. But we are so closely aligned. I know you're in sales and I'm in branding. So we're kind of the end caps around marketing. We get this whole marketing thing that I'm not crazy about in the middle.
Website stuff.
Yes. Websites, networking, which is a form of marketing, ads, all kinds of stuff that we do to amplify our message, but our message usually is crap, and then we don't know how to have the sales conversation on the other side. So we're so much in alignment, Connie. Like you and I everything you're saying is like, this is the stuff I teach my clients too. So it's just so interesting that
Yeah.
at the end of the day, when we're human beings, if we just are willing to take our humanity back to our business,
Yeah.
that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
You add some
Well said.
skills, but we got to be ourselves, because the moment we try to be someone else, we try and be the Wolf of Wall Street, or we try and play this persona, people sniff it out and it hurts us. It hurts everybody.
Yeah. And most times I bet you find too, your client, they know their messaging is just discombobulated. And
Yeah.
you get in, and as soon as you click and they go, whoa, how'd you do that? My zone of
Reassemble.
genius.
Yes.
Yeah. You just, same thing with sales. Your questions, they just need to be edited and modified a little bit. They're just not strong enough. When you present, you're all over the place 90% of the time. We refine that, right? So it's the tweaking is where it's that 1%. It's that 1% that can make the difference of really hundreds of thousands of dollars in your bank account. For me, that's really my goal. I want people to feel they deserve to be paid, get paid their worth. And
Well, they
here
do deserve.
they
Yeah.
do deserve it. And Josh, for me, the more we earn, the better we can do out there in the world.
Yes.
By serving at a bigger, higher, more impactful level. That's what we need to do as a community.
Absolutely. And then one day we're going to see a world of personal free trade. I know it. That's kind of my vision. I just want people everyone shines their value. Everyone has something they bring to the world, and they create so much value they have to share, whether it be using money, whether it be sharing their gift, but then there's surplus. There's no more, there's only abundance. There's no more scarcity.
Amen,
And
brother.
thank you for being on the journey with me on this, because I know
I love you.
Yes, likewise. So thank you so much. Any final words or any final things you'd like to share? I know you have a podcast, so I'm going to recommend people check out you have a couple podcasts. So if you want to get into Connie's circle of influence, if you really want to get into her community, that's another great way to do it, is go to her podcast. But I would recommend that assessment. That assessment's really cool.
Yeah. And the cool thing with the assessment too, is you'll be on my email list. And once you're there, I send you the emails to the podcast, and then you can unsubscribe, because people say, I'm getting Apple Podcast Con. I don't need it here. And it's cute when they unsubscribe, they write me notes. I love that.
I love it. I'm just,
again,
yeah, I'm not leaving you. I'm getting too much of you, right? I have too many notifications.
But I go, oh, I love them. And usually I'll send them a note. Oh, God, you're unsubscribed. Thank you so much for the note. That little touch, that's just who I am. It's how I roll. But that's what makes the difference. And while people go, she took time out of her day because you took time to write me a note personally. So I didn't feel bad because you were unsubscribing. I'm sorry, that deserves an email, right?
Absolutely. That's a nugget right there. So that's an awesome, awesome final nugget.
Yes.
Nothing's more valuable than your time, because it's the one thing you don't get back. And if you're willing to share that with someone, even if it's just a few seconds, that tells them more than anything. By the way, that's true for gifts. So we got gifts coming up, right? We have Christmas and Thanksgiving and all this stuff. Imagine, instead of just buying a card pre-written, what if you took time to write a note, and someone saw that, wow, one, it's what they wanted to say, and then two, they took the time out. They didn't just go to Walmart and bought a 99-cent card from someone else that said what they wanted to say. Like, just small things like that. And it's actually cheaper too. It's cheaper than getting on those freaking $10 Hallmark cards. You just write something out on a nice piece of stationery, or even just on a piece of paper. I don't know, a sticky note. That would mean more, right? I love that.
Agree. I told my husband and kids, stop spending money on these cards. They're a fortune. You don't have the money. Right. You want to write me a note, put it on line paper, put it on a Post-it note. I don't care, but do not buy me cards. They laugh all the time. And I see the card and they go, we got it at the dollar store. I go, all right, I allow it then.
All right. Dollar store is fine. We have to support the economy somehow.
Exactly.
All right, Connie, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Josh.
I have a feeling we're going to be talking again anyways in the future. We're way too closely aligned.
Yeah. And you got to do another show with me, because I do think people need that clarity with messaging. So you and I, maybe we do a quarterly show on my end as well. I just think people benefit from our stories and our combination of zones of genius. I think there's value in that. So yeah, love it. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody that's watching. And thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. And thank you, everybody. take all these nuggets. I hope you all were taking notes, or if you weren't, go watch the replay, take down some notes. I believe what flows through you sticks to you. And I know Connie shares so many good nuggets that you want to, I would challenge you right now, take one of the nuggets she shared and put it to use. Put it to use tomorrow. These aren't nuggets you have to go and build up over time. No, take one of the things we shared and go use it tomorrow and watch it change your conversations forever and watch it change your business forever. Because again, we got to go from shy, stop being so silly shy, I'm being nice here, to shine, where we're just no longer afraid to be ourselves, to provide value, and to become wealthy too. It's not an either or. So love everybody. Have a great day. Happy Thanksgiving if you're watching this live, because it's coming up in a couple of days. And we will see you next time.
Thank you.